Announced, we are taking the final speech from our U.S. guests. Today, Professor Evertt Hurffard will talk to us about experiences that make a Christian university education unique. Without much ado, let's welcome Prof.
Good morning. I'm almost not a guest. How long do I have to be here to be a citizen of HCC? Last year, I was here for 3 months with my wife, and we are blessed, my friend and I are blessed to be here at least for 10 days, to be back on campus, to see some of you again. That's always a joy to see you and how God is blessing you. I was asked, no more guests. I was invited to say something about this topic, but I need to make an introduction to the introduction, if I may, because I know each of you are listening from a different perspective. In fact, there was a wise person that said, when someone is talking to someone else, there are 4 people speaking. There's my mind of what I think I'm going to say, and then there's what comes out of my mouth. That's what I hope is said, and then you hear something, and then your mind interprets what you hear. So if we understand anything, even in our own language, it's a miracle. So here's what I understand. If we talk about the value of Christian university experience and what is unique about it, I'm aware that many of you came to HCC not because of the middle letter, but because of the second C. Am I correct? You came because it was a college, and that was okay if it was Christian. That did not seem relevant to you, but you came, and you're welcomed. I assumed everyone has felt welcomed here. There's some of you who came from a Christian background, and you're here because of the first C, because it's Heritage Christian College. So when I talk about what's unique about it, I realize that as students you have different motives for coming here, and I think it also would apply to faculty and management as well. Not everyone is here completely because of the first C. But I hope what I say today will be a blessing to all of you. So my thoughts are intended to be a blessing for all of you. So I hope you will give me 20 minutes to share some things that I think are very important. The second thing is when they say insights from afar, yes, I'm from a long ways away. It's about an 18-hour flight altogether. So it is a long ways. But when it comes to higher Christian education, Christian universities, I am deeply embedded in Christian universities. My mother and father went to a Christian university. My sister did. My wife did. My dad taught at a Christian university. I taught at a Christian university for 35 years. Taught it too for 35 years. And now my daughter is teaching in a Christian university in the nursing program. So you can see from our family, we are extremely appreciative and supportive because we see the value of a Christian university. One, we see the value of education. Education is extremely important. As you well know, a future of a nation depends on its education, and I think Ghana has excelled in trying to invest in education in its community because the country really needs the equipping that comes from education from everybody, not just the elite. Everybody needs that. So we appreciate that. I want to talk about what makes it Christian. And I realize some may say they're not interested in the Christian part of HCC because you may think of Christian as rules, as something imposed on you, as requirements that don't share, maybe you don't share those values, but you you're still coming because of the concern for the value of the education and the mission of the school, especially in entrepreneurial training, IT training, and other things that is very helpful for you. When I think of the time that I was in my 300s, it was either 300s and 400s level at a Christian university, we went to assembly every single day. Every day. I don't remember hardly any of the speeches. I mean, I listened, but they went in kind of one ear, out the other. And I was thinking, which one did I remember? And there was one in those 4 years of university that actually stands out, and I have remembered it. I don't know why it stuck with me, but I'm going to hope that topic will mean something to you and will help stick with you, because I only have a short amount of time. I want to limit. One thing I think is unique about a Christian higher education, although I can address many different things. The first is the mission of almost all Christian universities that I know and Christian colleges, is their purpose is to equip and transform lives, give you resources. The Christian worldview is different than the cultural worldview anywhere in the world, including the West. Christian worldview is very different than that you find in Europe, in the U.S., as far as how the culture views life and their values. Christian values are different. So it's an effort to equip you and help transform your life, not just your mind, but your life, so that you have a lifetime of service. To me, the key is lifetime, is laying a foundation for what you will do the rest of your life. So you should assume that if it says Christian, it's not only a concern for a subject, math and science and technology or what, and that's important, and I would hope that any Christian university will seek to do the best and at the highest level it possibly can. It wants to have quality. But that's not its only concern. Its concern is a lifetime of service to God as well as to your community. To God and to your community. So I'm going to stretch you this morning to think longer, think beyond just being at a college. Think beyond your time here, and then we look at life from the end, looking back. Take a whole life view and see how you're going to be blessed with what you have here. Many of you may know I lived in Israel for 9 years, 4 years as a teenager in Jerusalem, and 5 years with my family, my wife and children in Nazareth. For Christians, that's significant because you know Jesus lived in Nazareth, and he taught, was crucified, and resurrected in Jerusalem. So it's a very important place in Christian history. But my most favorite place in all the world is the Sea of Galilee, and sorry, the lighting in here, you can't see it. You won't be impressed with the picture. It's not as good as real life. But it's my favorite place in the world. I've been fishing in the Sea of Galilee. I've taken more than 1,300 people on a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee to see the sights around the Sea of Galilee. But here's the thing that comes to my mind, especially at the Mount of Beatitudes, just at the bottom right, again, if it were clear, at the bottom right is what is traditional site of where Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7. And when I look at this area of the world, here's another picture of it, I think of the life of Jesus there. It was very complete. He cared about the poor. He healed the sick. He taught in their synagogues. He cared for people. He spent time with a few people, quality time with a few people. He fed the multitudes. he was very holistic. Do you know what I mean by holistic? He was concerned about the whole of life. And at one point, here in Galilee, beside the Sea of Galilee, his heart was broken because he said they are like sheep without a shepherd. They are like sheep without a... He didn't say they are like a synagogue without a rabbi. He didn't say they're like a church without a pastor. He didn't say they're like a nation without a king. That wasn't the concern. He said they are like sheep without a shepherd, because a shepherd does not only feed the sheep protects the sheep. The shepherd nurtures the sheep. The shepherd cares for the sheep. And the religious leaders of his day did not do that. They did not care for the sheep. Jesus goes to Jerusalem one day, and the leaders who did not care for sheep tried to make problems for him. They wanted to kill him but couldn't figure out how to do it, and they would ask him questions so to trap him. The Sadducees, which were the most powerful, one day asked him some questions, and he answered them so well, it says they never asked him a question again. I know as faculty we would love, that would be a dream sometimes. But he answered it so well, they never asked any more questions. So the Pharisees, another group, pushed and said, okay, maybe this will get him. What is the greatest commandment? To which Jesus replied, and you can find this in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 and 38. He said, the great command is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That is the great command. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. How do you understand the focus of Jesus? If we're a Christian institution, how would the message of Jesus influence what we do as an institution? As in the same question we ask, how does that message influence what we do as individuals, as Christians? Well, here's my image. I like this picture that came from Inc. This is from the Inc. magazine. Right now, as students, you have a lot of things to juggle. You have financial challenges, academic challenges, challenges in your own area of discipline. You have life has become much more complex. Would you agree, since you finished secondary school? This is yes. This is no. Is life more complex now than it was when you were in secondary school living at home? Would you agree? Yes. And so it becomes difficult to know what should I give most of my attention to. And many times, if you're here for only the college side of it, you're going to focus all your attention on your academics and want to succeed in academics. And that's commended. I hope you do. That's a great thing to do. But to recognize that if it's a Christian institution and it's concerned about the whole of life, it wants to do the one thing I want you to take with you today. One of the unique things I have found about my own experience, all my children went to Christian education, was balance. Balance. Having balance. And I like this picture because look at all the different things you have to balance. And Christian education, if it's really influenced by the values of Christ, will bring balance to your life. And with a balanced life, you can go a long ways. That is a lifetime education. So I could spend a long time looking at the different things you balance, but let me do one that university students have to balance everywhere in the world. You are not alone in this. We were at University of Ghana, a campus church on the Sunday, visit with some of the students there. They are facing the same challenges that you face as a student, and that is balancing family and college. Do any of you feel tension between your family, the village or town you came from, and what you're exposed to in college? No problem? You know the tensions. Immediately, when it comes to thinking about marriage, does your dad think the same thing you do right now? There's one. Or if you came from a church in the village, how they did things may be different than what you do on campus. And historically, the family of origin typically views university and college with suspect. It's because of the difference in orientation and perspective. In college, you're always looking which way? Forward. Yes? You're always looking forward. New research, new ideas, gaining new skills, new technology. You're always looking forward. In family and in church, in your village, you're always looking back. I think it's interesting that your first name is Heritage. Heritage could be connecting the past to the future. If you disconnect yourself from the past, you lose your identity, you lose values, you lose a support network. That's not what Jesus did. Jesus connected their past to the future. So I didn't come to destroy the law. I didn't come to do these things. I came to fulfill it, to build on it so that you can have a good future. My view, if the first C influences your life while you're here at HCC, your parents will still be honored and still be loved and still be respected, even if they see things different than you. You will have a good balance between your heritage and your future, and recognize God used your family to give you the gift of life. I could say so many more things about it, but I appeal to you to seek guidance. If you have tension with your family back home, allow someone to mentor you, what could be the faculty, it could be, I know Evans is good at this, it could be others who could provide some good guidance so that as you grow as a university college student, you don't grow away from your family, you complement the good things that you brought from your family and that you respect them as your parents. More could be said, but let me look at the one that I think that is more important, which is the one, even more important, is the one that I did just from Jesus Christ. He identified heart, soul, and mind. Now, in the Jewish worldview, there's no it's all one, all together. They're very holistic. In academia around the world, we separate it. We mainly work with the mind and ignore the heart and the soul. So to me, what is unique about Christian education is we integrate it, we don't separate it. We integrate the best of academic training and knowledge and the seeking of knowledge, not for the sake of knowledge itself, but for the purposes of serving God and our community as a whole person. So what we learn with our mind is also impacting our heart, and it's edited by our soul. Do you like it when your faculty edits your papers? The soul, one way for me to describe the soul, notice where I have it, it's the very base, it's right there on the bottom. It's foundational to who all of us are. Even if you're not a Christian, you have a soul. Every human being was made in the image of God. And the way to determine the health of your soul from a Christian perspective is your passion, your concerns, your values, your ethics, or as you have in one of your core values, character. That is where character rests. And as a Christian, you're filled with the Holy Spirit. The Spirit guides you so that soul becomes the Supreme Court for your life. I like to view the soul as the Supreme Court. And who is on the Supreme Court? Not like Ghana and not like the U.S. Supreme Court. This Supreme Court has God and Christ and the Holy Spirit on it. That's the foundation that guides me. So what I do with my mind, what I do with my heart, is ultimately approved or promoted or initiated from my soul itself. Jesus and Paul, all throughout the New Testament, we're told to guard your soul. So to me, Christian education would help you guard your soul, not destroy your soul. So how would I know how my soul is? And a soul is not, a soul is not just African, European, Pacific. That's one thing all humanity has in common if we're all made in the image of God. How do you know you have a good soul right now? Or is your soul at risk? How would you know that? From a Christian perspective, it's, I think, a simple way is look at the Sermon on the Mount. And as you read the Sermon on the Mount, how much of that resonates with your soul, or how much of your soul is rejecting it? Is it sick? Is it becoming weak? Or you might want Galatians 5, the fruit of the Spirit. Check your soul. Love, joy, and peace. Is that coming from your soul, or is your soul, you don't love your fellow students, there's no peace, there's not even any joy? If there's none of those, your life is out of balance. Your life is out of balance. And Christian education is unique because it provides an opportunity to put that in balance. One example comes to my mind is curriculum. I'm assuming there are courses that you must take that you do not want to take. And you say, why do I need this? That's not my subject area. Thank you. Someone's listening. I did that when I went to Christian. There were classes I did not like. I did not see the purpose in it. I did not want to take it. But now I'm an old man, and I wish I had listened more closely. Let me tell you something. Find a university anywhere in Ghana. Find one. I'd like to know if there is. Find one university anywhere in Ghana where the president of the university would teach a class like HCC seminar. Why do you think the president teaches that class? It's not because he needs extra pay. He didn't get paid for that. It's not because he has so much free time. That's not why he does it. And the topic, how many of you have had the class so far, the seminar? Any of you have had the seminar yet? Some of you have had it. The rest, I hope you get it soon. Because here's the thing he does in the seminar. He helps you gain study skills. He helps you understand yourself with the DISC profile, D-I-S-C, so you can be a whole person. He is wanting to invest in you as a whole person. That's because of the Christian in it, not because it's just academic. Because the mission of HCC is your own personal development. If you only take courses that are in your academic area so that you can develop the skills and the profession you want to go into, which means you're only working with your mind, after 4 years, your heart will become hard and you will lose your soul, or you will certainly damage your soul. Balance is so important. Balance is so important. The reason for assembly is for balance. The reason for many of the classes you take is for balance. Not because it directly influences your professional training, but because it creates one of the best person, a better person, so you can do well. 10 years from now, no one's going to ask you necessarily what your marks were in any class you take. You know what they're going to ask? In fact, if it's a really good job, they want a reference from other places that you worked. You know what they're going to ask? One question. Did he or she work well with people? They don't want to hire somebody in their company that is a headache, that doesn't get along with people, that's not a good person, whose soul lacks character. That's not what they want. They want someone with character that they can trust in their business. They may be brilliant in their topics, whatever it is. They want to know what kind of person they are. I think that's a unique value of Christian education that helps bring balance to your life even this very day. There's a story of Edwin Hughes. He was a pastor of a Methodist church in England many, many years ago. And he preached a sermon one Sunday on God's ownership. And at lunch, he was invited to the home of one of the wealthiest men in the church. He owned a lot of most of the property in the area. So as they were eating, the host said, "So, are you telling me that this land is really not mine? That I really don't own all this land?" Because basically he was saying in the sermon that what you have is not really yours. It's a gift of God to be used by others. So Edwin thought a minute. Not that he had a good answer. He said, "Ask me that question in 100 years. Did you get it? In 100 years, who cares who owns this land? He won't care. So look at the things that you care about today. Does it have to do with your heart and your soul, not just your mind? Because in 100 years, or let's say in 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years, what difference will it make? The difference will be the kind of person you are, not just how well you've done in your studies. Athletes who do well in college, extremely well, when they go to professional football and basketball and others, sometimes they struggle because they only focused on athletics. And then when they get injured, when they have to change, they have nothing to fall back on because they did not have balance in their lives. And many of them just self-destruct. It is so sad to see. And I've seen that in people who did well, who succeeded in what they were doing, and yet, on the other hand, they did not have balance in their life. This is I found this interesting. The University of Southern Carolina, University of Southern Carolina, has a center for teaching excellence. They try to help teachers succeed, and I thought it was interesting. This is on their advertisement. They seek balance. But notice what is missing from a university when it comes to balance in teaching. Do you notice anything missing? What does it say about the heart and what does it say about the soul? I appreciate what they're doing, but I think when you look at a Christian university as faculty, and if I can say one word to faculty and management, that it applies to you as well. How balanced is your life? It is so easy to have so much responsibility on the teaching side. We even are not watching our own souls, and we're not doing well with our own families. We're not balancing our life between where our heart is and where our head is. And then a student can tell when you come and go each week, all they have is a head that's talking and a head that leaves, but no heart is there. But it's hard, very difficult, to bring the head and heart together, even as faculty and at management, without the soul. Without the soul. You know, I've been all over the world, and I don't see many atheists helping the poor. I've been in major cities in the United States, and I don't see many atheists sacrificing to help the poor in those cities. What I see are people of faith all over the world making sacrifices and sharing and partnering with people because of their soul that touches their heart, and they use their mind to make a difference in their world. And that's the prayer for all of you. One of the reasons that creativity and entrepreneurship is important. Why? It's an effort to bring your values, what's at the core of you, your soul, together with the other things that you want, that God is leading you to do. So, if you, 5 years from now, if God wills, you remember one thing that's unique about Christian higher education, I hope it will be balanced and that you will seek that out so that you will be a better person when you go. I've got a couple of minutes, so let me wrap up with your core values. Help me out. In fact, let me back up so you can see let's use this one. Whoop. This did not go right. Oh. One more thing. How many hours in a week? 168. If you work 10 hours a day for 6 days, you should rest at least one day if you're balanced. That's 60 hours a week of work. And if you sleep 7 hours a night, which is healthy, that's 49 hours a week. What's left? 59 hours. If you have a good higher education, it will not only equip you for the 60 hours a week, it will also bless you for the 59 hours a week when you're with your family, when you're with your community, when you're doing a whole lot of other things. That is balance. So come to assembly looking for ideas to help you with the 59 hours a week, not just what you're doing in your own profession. That's balance, and that's why a lot of the activities here are oriented to that. Okay, think in your mind, body, and soul. Those three. Conviction, core value. Mind, body, or soul. All three. It starts in your soul, deep down in my soul. And then it comes out first in my head, because I'm thinking this through. And there are many times I'm going to discover things, like when we study the Bible, or the more you study about life, it will change some of the perspectives you have deep within your soul, and then your heart gets attached to it and you don't turn loose. That's conviction. Now, if the soul is not being the regulator of your mind, then you no longer have convictions. You become stubborn and radical. That's an unbalanced person. And you know that in every religion there are unbalanced people, right? And a lot of times we judge the religion by the unbalanced people, not by what the balance is. Because those who only think and are stubborn about it are not showing compassion for other people. Takes all three. Christian education should help you become balanced. It's not going to be easy at times because some of your convictions are going to be challenged, and should be, if it's the truth. The Lord leads you. Character. I already gave that one away, didn't I? That starts in your soul. But it's from the soul, not from the heart. If your relationship with people is only based on passions, how you feel or how you think, you're not going to be a good person to live with the rest of somebody's life. I guarantee. Because there are days your heart goes up and down, and there are days your mind isn't working. But if at the core you have character, you will always seek to do the right thing, even if your heart doesn't like it and your mind isn't excited about it. That is character development. Third, creativity. That to me comes from the heart. For me, it means I want to leave things better than I found them. And we pray that all the graduates of HCC will create within their community things better than existed before you go and engage in the life that you're going to live. That you leave it. You produce something better than you received, and you're a blessing. Compassion starts from the heart, right? Compassion is really caring. But compassion can be control if there isn't the soul regulating it. You say, I love somebody. If you're jealous and controlling, that's not love. And your core value, your character isn't defining what that love is, what that compassion is. It is giving. And finally, community. Community. It's heart. It's heart. By the time you leave Heritage Christian College, and maybe it'll be university by the time you leave, I hope you'll want to stay longer because you grew to love and appreciate the management, the faculty, the staff, your fellow students, because your heart was shaped by a Christian education. May God give balance to all of your lives, and that you will be some of the best citizens that Ghana or other countries that are represented here has ever had. May God richly bless you.
Thank you very much. We'll ask Dr. Yesu to say a prayer, and he should also commit their travel back to the U.S. on Monday. Shall we be on our feet?
Shall we pray? We thank you, dear Lord, for those wonderful opportunities, for the blessing of opening our minds and our hearts to those wonderful people, men of yours, the message that they brought to us. We've heard a lot.
It feels like becoming an entrepreneur aside academics is never going to be possible when you're in school.
We are most
mainly because we feel that we are young
to them
and we don't have the resources and the guts to one.
But if you believe in yourself and you have the passion to become an entrepreneur, then you already are.
Staying ahead in a highly competitive environment requires applying creativity and innovation to every aspect of your journey to becoming an entrepreneur.
Presently, entrepreneurship is driven by creativity and innovation to attain business objectives.
The explosion in technology, business, entrepreneurship, and consumption in this new era is as a result of the ongoing application of innovation.
Milton Bell once said, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door."
So if you are ready to be an entrepreneur, we are ready for you.
Heritage Christian College,
offering world-class university education.
Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education.
Heritage Christian College,
offering world-class university education.
Heritage Christian College, heritage.
Offering world-class university education.
Heritage Christian College,
offering world-class university education.
Heritage Christian College,
Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education.